Widowo inaugurates the Kuabang Airport in North Maluku. Agent Sampurna's net profit fell more than 30% in 2020.
Good afternoon, viewers. Market Headlines is ready to provide you a number of information from business, economic, and capital market sector with Nicola Rantawijaya, and this is Market Headlines. Yes, viewers, President Joko Widowo inaugurated the operations of Kuabang Airport in North Maluku. In this inauguration, the President ordered the Minister of Transportation to seek at least 2 flight schedules a week to Kuabang Airport.
President Joko Widowo inaugurated the operation of Kuabang Airport in North Maluku. In this inauguration, the President ordered the Minister of Transportation to seek at least 2 flight schedules a week to Kuabang Airport.
Pagi hari ini, saya perintahkan pada Pak Menteri Perhubungan dan Dirjen untuk di Airport Kuabang ini agar secepatnya diusahakan paling tidak minimal seminggu 2 kali flight menuju ke sini. Sehingga lagi nanti pada keadaan normal tidak bukanya terlalu kencang. Sudah ada tahapan 2 kali seminggu, kemudian baru naik lagi ke keadaan normal yaitu 3 kali sehari.
Currently, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, there are no regular flight schedules to Kuabang Airport, only for charter flights. Meanwhile, for information, Kuabang Airport was built with an investment cost of 300 billion rupiah, with a runway of 2,400 meters. This airport is expected to become an air connectivity infrastructure that can increase tourism and economic activities in North Maluku. From Jakarta, IDX Channel team reported.
The Ministry of Finance noted that the budget deficit until February 2021 reached 63.6 trillion rupiah, or 0.36% of the GDP. This deficit realizations was higher than the same period in the previous year, amounting to 61.8 trillion rupiah.
The Ministry of Finance noted that the budget deficit until February 2021 reached 63.6 trillion rupiah, or 0.36% of GDP. This deficit realization was higher than the same period in the previous year, amounting to 61.8 trillion. The deficit in February 2021 occurred due to state revenue that was not proportional to the government's state spending, which in turn forced the government to increase debt. By the end of February, the government had issued 273 trillion new debts. Director General of Finance and Risk Management of the Ministry of Finance, Wicky Adrian, explained that the debt issuance is still in line with the fulfillment of the financing target, which reached nearly 6% of GDP this year.
Menteri bahwa posisi per akhir Februari untuk pembiayaan anggaran itu kita sudah berhasil menutupi sebesar 273,1 triliun. Jadi ini sesuai dengan rencana kita untuk bagaimana mencari menutupi defisit sampai dengan akhir tahun. Jadi dari segi jumlah utangnya kita sudah mencapai 6.361 triliun rupiah. Dan itu sesuai dengan tadi bagaimana yang kita rumuskan di APBN bersama-sama antara pemerintah dengan DPR.
For information, until February 2021, the Ministry of Finance recorded state revenue reaching 219.2 trillion rupiah, while the position of state spending increased to 282.7 trillion rupiah. From Jakarta, Raharjo Patku for IDX Channel.
March 2021, the Ministry of Finance reported that the realizations of the National Economic Recovery Budget has reached 76.59 trillion rupiah, or this is only 10.9% of the total allocation. And the Finance Minister confirmed that the realizations of the National Economic Recovery Budget will continue to be strengthened in order to maintain the momentum of recovery.
The Ministry of Finance reports that the realization of the budget for the National Economic Recovery Program has reached 76.59 trillion rupiah up to March 17, 2021. This realization is equivalent to 10.9% of the total allocation in 2021, amounting to 699.43 trillion rupiah. Minister of Finance Sri Mulyani explained the realization of the National Economic Recovery Program until mid-March was dominated by the health sector, reaching 12.4 trillion rupiah or 7% of the allocation, then the Social Protection Program of 25.9 trillion or 16.5% of the total allocation, as well as a support program for MSMEs.
Itu realisasinya mencapai 76,59 triliun atau dalam hal ini 10,9%. Dominasi adalah di bidang kesehatan dan perlindungan sosial serta dukungan kepada UMKM. Ini memang tujuannya pemulihan ekonomi nasional yang bisa dipengaruhi atau didukung oleh APBN langsung belanja ke masyarakat sehingga bisa mendukung konsumsi rumah tangga.
In addition to the health sector and for social assistance, the realization of priority programs until mid-March 2021 reached 1.44 trillion rupiah or 1.2% of the total allocation. Support for MSMEs and corporations has reached 29.63 trillion, while the incentives for the business have reached 7.15 trillion rupiah or 12.2% of the total allocation. From Jakarta, Raharjo Patmo for IDX Channel.
To speed up job creation's law implementation, Ministry of Finance is now working on technical regulations to support the law. And in near time, Directorate General of Customs and Excise will finish 2 ministerial regulations to support job creation's law from tax and excise's side.
Ministry of Finance keeps accelerating job creation law implementation by creating sub-regulation to support the law. Director General of Customs and Excise, Askolani, explained that currently government is creating sub-regulations that comes from 5 government regulations concerning job creation law implementation. 5 government regulations are special economic zones, free trade zones, small-medium enterprises, trade, and industry. From those 5 regulations, Director General of Customs and Excise will finish 2 Ministry of Finance regulations, which are trade zone and free port.
Dari 5 PP ini, kami akan menyiapkan 2 PMK, Bu, rancangan PMK tentang kawasan perdagangan dan pelabuhan bebas, yang intinya mengenai prosedur daripada pemasukan dan pengeluaran ketentuan mengenai pemberian fiskal dan ketentuan lartas dan pemungutan cukai. Dan PP PMK yang kedua mengenai KEK, Bu, ini mengenai simplifikasi daripada proses pemasukan.
For current condition, Directorate General of Customs and Excise has issued regulations number 18 year 2021 regarding implementations of law number 11 of 2020 concerning job creation in the field of tax income, value-added tax, and sales tax on luxury goods, as well as general provisions and tax procedures. From Jakarta, Raharjo Patmo, IDX Channel.
Market headlines will be right back after this quick break. Stay tuned.
Halo Sobat Milenial, berikut adalah pilihan investasi untuk Sobat Milenial. Yang pertama adalah tabungan di bank. Nah, tabungan di bank ini sifatnya sangat liquid, jadi dapat diambil kapanpun dan dalam bentuk cash. Yang kedua adalah deposito. Investasi dalam deposito dapat diambil ketika jatuh tempo dengan tenor tertentu dan imbal hasilnya 5-6% per tahun. Dan yang ketiga adalah investasi dalam bentuk obligasi. Nah, obligasi ini dibagi dua. Ada obligasi yang diterbitkan oleh pemerintah dan ada obligasi yang diterbitkan oleh perusahaan swasta. Yang keempat, investasi saham. Dengan berinvestasi saham, kita akan mendapatkan dividen atau bagi hasil dari perusahaan. Dan yang kelima adalah investasi reksadana. Reksadana adalah produk investasi yang dikelola oleh manajer investasi. Dalam reksadana dapat menjanjikan imbal hasil 10-20% per tahun. So, kamu pilih investasi yang mana?
Welcome back to Market Headlines. Fitch Rating keeps Indonesia's debt rating at BBB position by stating stable outlook. Even though the rating is good and the economic recovery is still going well, Finance Minister keeps alarmed about the global uncertainties.
Minister of Finance Sri Mulyani Indrawati is optimistic that domestic economy will continue to improve. This is in line with the affirmations of Indonesia's debt rating by Fitch Rating, which keeps stable at the BBB with a stable outlook. Sri Mulyani believes that Fitch Rating sees Indonesia as an investment destination country. Despite good growth potential, Indonesia has some parts that need to be enhanced. Fitch Rating conveyed that Indonesia has huge dependency on external financing. But then, fiscal policy is expected to reduce the dependency. Even though pandemic hits Indonesia just like any other countries, but Indonesia's fiscal stability is one of the best, thanks to fiscal consolidation scenario that government set.
Kemarin Fitch Rating baru saja mengeluarkan afirmasi bahwa Indonesia tetap pada BBB atau BBB dan outlook-nya stable. Indonesia rating balance a favorable medium-term growth outlook and low debt to GDP ratio against dependence on external financing and lagging structural features compared with BBB peers such as GDP per capita.
Besides that, job creation's low also give positive impact to the medium-term growth. Jakarta, Rahaja Pakmo for IDX Channel.
Throw back a little bit to the end of January, Central Bank reported that Indonesia's total foreign debt hit 420.7 billion US dollar. It took surprise on many people and instantly became spotlight. And even though central bank stated that the amount is still manageable, but still there was a huge leap from the years before. And therefore, let's see in the detail in the next graphic. Through the next graphic, we can see that Indonesia's foreign debt in January 2021 is in 420.7 billion, comprising 213 billion for the public sector and private sector external debts, including the state-owned enterprises of 207.1 billion rupiah. And the number is increasing from the year before, as in January 2001, the Indonesia's debt was in the positions of 410 billion US dollar. But if we take a look at 2009, in January, it was in 333 billion US dollar. And then, yes, the January foreign debt was 420 billion US dollar, or if we convert into rupiah, it was 6,233 trillion rupiah. Then there is an updated data by the end of February. The Ministry of Finance noted that Indonesia's debt position reached 6,330 61 trillion. This figure is an increase of 128 trillion rupiah from January 2021. 128 trillion of debt within a month? Well, it may sound very huge, but then Bank Indonesia, as the monetary regulator, which regulates the money circulation, say that the structure of Indonesia's foreign debt is still healthy. As public may worry about this, but there is calming statement from Finance Minister Sri Mulyani that said Indonesia is relatively capable of maintaining economic performance. Well, yes, in the midst of pandemic, all countries suffer, not only Indonesia. So overall, according to her, our economy is still prudent. This can be seen from Indonesia's debt rating, which remains persistent with no cut. And therefore, let's see the rating in the next graphic. Through the next graphic, we can see two global institutions that give the rating to Indonesia's debt. First of all, it's Fitch rating by BBB in the stable outlook, and we got Moody's by BAA with also a stable outlook in here. And according to Fitch rating, Indonesia's rating balances a favorable move. And yes, Fitch Ratings stated that this balances a favorable move for the medium term, and this is very good for Indonesia's in the upcoming situations. Here it is, the Fitch Ratings stated that a BBB stable outlook, and according to the Fitch Rating, Indonesia's rating balance remain favorable move for Indonesia's in the upcoming years. And then as we know that this rating is a really good performing, that Indonesia is kind of a really good for maintaining the situations of a whole pandemic situations. And then moving on to the next graphic, we're going to elaborate more about Indonesia's GDP projections. Here it is, we can see Indonesia's GDP growth projections by Fitch Rating, which is very optimistic towards Indonesia's GDP growth. In 2022, Fitch Rating projected that Indonesia is capable to gain 6% economic growth, while in 2021, Fitch Rating also projected that Indonesia is capable on achieving 5.3%. And yes, the Indonesia's GDP growth projections by Fitch Rating is very optimistic and expect growth momentum to be further supported in the near term by the fiscal relief measures and also infrastructure spending. The growth remains subject to significant downside risk from the weak domestic demand, including consumptions of services as COVID-19 infections continue to spread. Well, we have to appreciate on how the authorities started vaccinations program in January and aim to reach herd immunity by the first quarter of 2021. And this is an optimistic target in Fitch view. And over the medium term, Fitch Rating expects growth to receive a boost from implementations of the Omnibus Law on job creation, which aims to alleviate several long-standing barriers for the investment. But despite all the good sentiments, there are a lot of homeworks that Indonesia needs to face. And what are those? Let's see through the next graphic. Here it is, through the next graphic, we can see that Indonesia needs to face several challenges. One of it is a high dependency on the external financing. And the second one is that Indonesia has a low government revenue. And then the third one is that lagging structural features compared to the peers of the BBB countries. Well, indeed, greater dependence on external finance adopt high risk-taking strategies. And therefore, government in this case enhance its fiscal and monetary strategies as this huge amount of debt needs extra care. And in terms of the fiscal deficit, Fitch Rating expects that the fiscal deficit to narrow only marginally to 5.6% in 2021 from 6.1% in 2020, broadly in line with the government's target. And yes, viewers, but still, despite huge debt, Indonesia's rating balances a favorable medium-term growth outlook, even though the growth is still low, but then it is rising. Stay tuned to market headlines because we will be right back after this quick break.
Presiden Joko Widodo memiliki optimisme yang tinggi terkait dengan proses vaksinasi nasional yang sedang dilakukan saat ini. Bagaimana tanggapan dari pengusaha dengan angka ini?
Tentu membuat kita harus lebih berhati-hati.
Langkah apa yang tepat dilakukan untuk bisa meningkatkan pemahaman masyarakat?
Komunikasi publik adalah kunci. Jadi kita harus bisa menunjukkan kepada masyarakat bahwa vaksinasi itu penting.
Indeks harga saham gabungan bergerak fluktuatif.
Nilai tukar rupiah terhadap dolar Amerika Serikat sedikit mengalami apresiasi.
Bagaimana dengan target pertumbuhan ekonomi Indonesia di kuartal 1 tahun ini?
Sehingga pada kuartal 1 tahun 2021 diperkirakan ekonomi akan mengalami kontraksi, akan mengalami penurunan.
Faktor-faktor utama dalam penolakan dari Uni Eropa terkait produk sawit Indonesia.
Indonesia disebut belum mampu menerapkan standar lingkungan yang cukup dan juga standar keberlanjutan yang cukup.
Welcome back to Market Headlines. So let's take a look at Jakarta Composite Index intraday movement. So earlier today, JCI was open at the level of 6,231.71, and then approaching the closing time of the first session, the index was on the level of 6,195.94, and the index was showing weakening trend by the second session closing time. The index was closed at a level of 6,156.14, and in short, JCI went down 1.45%. Next, we're going to see this sectoral movement. Leading the dynamics of today's trading, we got mining as the leader of the weakening trend that went down 3.17%. Agriculture went down 2.36%. We got infrastructure went down 0.83%, and constructions went down 0.53%. And moving on to the top gainers and the top losers, here are the key highlights from today's trading session. DGNS went up 10.07%. We got IKAN that went up 34.41%. We got CSIS that went up 13.04%, and AMAR that went up 24.65%. Meantime, for the top loser for today's trading sessions, we got BBCA that went down 1.9%. We got BMRI that went down 3.75%. We got ANTM that went down 4.41%, and Astra International that went down 2.24%. And next, we're going to see the intraday movement of rupiah towards US dollar. So rupiah opened at the level of 14,445. Rupiah was also showing strengthening trend towards US dollar. It was closed at the level of 14,380. In summary, rupiah went up 0.53%. Throughout 2020, the cigarette producer HM Sampurna posted a decrease in net profit of 37.46% year-on-year to only 8.58 trillion rupiah.
The performance of the cigarette manufacturer HM Sampurna was under pressure in 2020, along with the increase in tax rates and expenses, which were the catalyst for negative performance. Based on the financial statements, the issuer under stock code HMSP earned 92.42 trillion in revenue, or 12.85% lower than the 2019 acquisition. In addition, the company only posted a net profit of 8.58 trillion, a 37.46% decrease compared to 2019's acquisition of 13.72 trillion rupiah. Mirai Asset Sekuritas analyst Christine Natasha said that HM Sampurna 2020 earnings were in line with Mirai Asset and consensus forecasts, reaching run rates of 100% and 97% for consensus. Meanwhile, net profit was below the Mirai Asset estimate and market consensus, with run rates of 91% and 90% respectively. Meanwhile, the gross profit margin level managed to drop only 18.4% in the fourth quarter of 2020. Christine explained that this was because the company had not yet fully continued the increase in excise tax on average selling price. IDX Channel team reported.
Franco Pacific just received credit from state-owned bank worth 113 billion rupiah. The company will use the fund for purchasing another fleets.
The director of Efek, Amril, stated that the credit facility is an investment credit for purchasing ships. Company is about to buy 2 units of deck pusher barges and also 2 units of pusher tugboat. Those vessels are set as a collateral for the credit facility. The credit facility has the maximum terms of 60 months starting from disbursement of the credit facility. This credit facility is subject to interest rate, fees, late fees, and administrative fees in accordance with a bank regulation. Even though the company didn't disclose which bank is, but the company confirmed that the company didn't affiliate with the bank. Therefore, this is not an evaluated transaction. From all sources, IDX Channel.
The property issuer, Bumi Serpong Damai, is optimistic that 2021 will be a good year, in line with the latest move by central bank to boost property sector, which allows 0% down payment for mortgage. Even the company sets 7 trillion marketing sales this year.
The latest move by Bank Indonesia to relax down payment regulations to boost property sales is expected to move the appetite of the consumers, with the former facing much reduced purchasing power as a result of COVID-19. See, the policy has been implemented. Property issuer Bumi Serpong Damai is optimistic to achieve 7 trillion market sale this year. The company's director, Hermawan Wijaya, stated that Bumi Serpong is targeting marketing sales of 63% of the residential property, 20% of commercial property, such as land, lots, and shop houses and condominiums, and also 14% of land sales to joint venture companies. In calculations, residential property is expected to reach 4.4 trillion rupiah. Commercial property is expected to gain 1.6 trillion rupiah, and land sales is expected to gain 1 trillion. Therefore, as a result, the total marketing sales target reach 7 trillion rupiah. From all sources, IDX Channel.
Aside from market conditions, as coronavirus pandemic takes a big role on current economic situations, here it is an update data about coronavirus globally. And the news close our market headlines today. Please enjoy our next program on IDX Channel, your trustworthy economic business and capital market channel. I'm Lantai. Have a nice evening and stay safe.